Welcome back to the Crochet Creatus with my friends at yarnspirations.com. This is the seated knit stitch, which is used as a pattern inside of Hot Frosty, that romance comedy movie. This particular stitch has a lot of stretch to it, as you see, and I've used Caron Tea Cakes in order to show you this example. You'll need 3 balls of that if you would like to play with that, and it does change color on its own, as you can see. This is a chunky weight number 6 yarn, so it's nice and thick, so it'll go much faster than using the thinner yarn, and it is double-sided, as you can see. So I'm going to teach this from a beginner's perspective. We use video chapters, which you'll find in the video description, as well as pinned comment, and as well as a written instruction download for you to have if you would like to be able to have that as well. So let's talk about our knitting needles first. The knitting needle that you'll use is an 8mm size US 11 needle. It here is shown as a circular knitting needle, so it's attached from one side to the other and it's just holding onto the cord. We're going to be using the longer sticks here, and the sticks here are 10mm size, so it's a bit thicker, like thick wise. So the thicker the needle, the chunkier the stitches will look, and I think this is a really good look on its own. For demonstration reasons, I'm going to be using some yarn that I have in my stash, and this was called Caron Sprinkle Cakes, and it has a fleck in it that you will see that pops up, and this was really fun yarn, but it's also the same thickness of the yarn that we are currently using here. So this particular download has information, so you'll need 3 balls of the Caron Tea Cakes if you'd like to have one. It is 6 inches when it's not stretched. When I pulled it, it's 6 inches, and you will find that it's just a nice, easy repeating instruction, just like you see. In today's video, we're gonna go from cast on right to actually doing it, and then cast off, and I will be doing this for beginners, so we'll show you right from the very start. So sitting down in your chair, the yarn that will be feeding your project will be coming from this direction. It can also come from this direction over here as well. So you want to make sure it's there. If you put it on this side, it's going to cross into your work and be a real pain in the ass. So let's begin and start a slip knot. To do the slip knot, we're going to do the leapfrog concept. And what this is that you're going to take the tail and you're going to wrap around your finger twice. Just like that. I'll hold so you can get that. Okay, so just point your finger and wrap it around your finger twice. And then just move this so that your other fingers can hold this. We have videos for these kind of techniques available on this channel. This is called the slip knot. So we're going to take this yarn and we're going to jump it over top. So we're going to leapfrog it over. And then we're going to take the new one right here. And it's so excited to leapfrog, so when you pick it up, go right up over top of your finger, and that will create the starting knot. There are many ways to do a slip knot. That's the way my mom showed me, and that's the way that I prefer. So if you wrap it around your finger twice, just do the game of leapfrog, and you're good to go. And so now let's put this onto our knitting needle. So let's put this onto our knitting needle. So we're just going to slide it on. So slide it onto this needle here. And when you tug on it from the strand that is going to the yarn ball, pull on it, but don't pull on it so tight that you're choking your knitting needle. So it should be able to slide, right? So you'll do that. You're going to take the other one and you're going to then put that into your other hand. But we have to figure out how we're going to be yarning over and putting it into this needle when we go to be able to knit. So the best way to do it is grab your finger. Okay, there's many ways of doing it. And just grab your pinky and rotate over, and then under your hand, and then over your pointer. I'll show it to you again. So grab your pinky, circle it around your pinky, and come up on the underside of your hand, and then out between your driving finger and your pointer finger, just like this. One more time. So loop around the front of your hand and behind your pointer finger. So when we go to play with this, we're going to use our pointer finger to be able to loop it over top of the needle. So we're going to put this into your hand, and we're going to start the cast on process in the way that I prefer, but again, there's many ways to do it. To do the cast on method, okay, we're going to do it this way. So you're going to take this needle and you're going to insert it through the loop and keep this needle on the back. So it's inside the loop, as you can see, and it's on the back side. You're going to grab this yarn that is going towards the yarn ball, and you're going to loop it around your finger and get it ready to go. You're going to take this one and we're going to wrap the back needle and pull forward onto that needle, and you're just going to flip that yarn strand through. So by pulling it down, you flip it forward and you slide up. You were then going to take this one and put this back onto this needle. So you're going to pull up and rotate it around and use this one right here to scoop it underneath. So you can use your fingers and scoop it and collect it. You do not want to be tight with this. And you're just using that needle to push it onto this one. And we're going to keep doing that until we have the number 23 stitches on board. If you would like to change the multiples of this, it's multiples of 4 plus 3. So every 4 loops, 4 loops, 4 loops, add 3, you'll have balance. So to go again, you're just going to go into this one here, yarn over the back needle and flip it forward. Pull forward and then rotate around. See how I'm using the pointer finger of this hand right here, and I'm preventing that from sliding off the end of the needle. And so I'm using the pointer finger to help push it on. So I want it to get it to the thickness of the diameter of the knitting needle. I don't want to stay down here so that all the stitches remain the same. So you're just going in, wrap the back one, and you pull down and flip forward, pull up, and rotate underneath, and pull on. So I now have 4 stitches on board, so I need a total of 23. So I'll show it a couple more times. So in, wrap the back, pull through, and put on. So now I have 5 loops on there, so I need a total of 23. And in time, depending on how experienced you are, this gets really fast to do. The trick is not to be too tight. Okay, so I want you to keep on going so you can count a total of 23 of these loops on this needle and meet me back here and put me on pause now. So let's get ready for row number 1. So I have a total of 23 loops, so it was multiples of 4 plus 3, so there's 20 plus 3, which is a multiple of 4 plus 3. So this will give you a 6 inches length. When you're doing it for the first time, if you've never knit before, the first one is always tight, so make sure the dog is peed, the kids are fed, the husband's gonna leave you alone, or the spouse or whatever. So you're going to do row number 1, and row number 1 is going to be tight when you do it, but then it's gonna relax, and then maybe they can talk to you after that, but you'll have to make that rule for yourself. Let's begin row number 1. So as we begin row number 1, we are going to start, and what you've been doing by sticking the needle in is partially the knit stitch. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put this needle into the first one on the back side and get the yarn into your hand and ready to go. We are going to knit 3, so in patterns it will say K3, that means knit 3 in a row. So you're just gonna wrap the back loop or the back needle, and you're gonna pull down and flip up like so. And then you're going to carefully move this loop off of that needle because now you've just transferred it over and you're knitting 3 in a row. So go and do the next one. So here, and don't be too tight, just be relaxed, and you're gonna knit. So pull down, push up, and slide. Okay, so in, wrap around, pull down, push up, and slide. So you're gonna wanna continually slide these up onto there, but don't slide it to the point where it's gonna pop off. Now the next stitch is gonna be a purl stitch. So this was the knit stitch. And before you begin the purl, this yarn that you're playing with must go between the stitches in front of your work. If you leave it in behind, you're going to gain a stitch and it's gonna look like crap. and it won't work. So just put the yarn in front first, and this time this needle, instead of going through the back, you're going to go down through the throat of the needle, or of the loop here, and you're going to come and grab it. And so this needle here is on the front of the work. You're going to take this yarn and wrap it around that needle, and you're going to pull down, and you're going to push that needle backward to capture the loop that you just made, and you're just going to slide this loop off. Okay, so now we're going to knit 3. So to do the knit stitch, we have to get this yarn back to the back of the project, so in behind first, and you knit the next 3. So just going in, wrap the back, pull down, push up, and slide off. So that was 1. So in, wrap the back, pull down, push up, and slide. One more time. So in, wrap the back, pull down, push up, and slide. And now the next one is going to be a purl. So we'll talk about the repeating in a second. So to purl, we have to get the yarn in front. So go between the 2 needles, stay on the front, take this one here, go down through the throat of this loop, and stay on the front side, wrap, and push back, and slide off. So the repeat all the way across is going to be always knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, and the very last 3 stitches will be a knit. So what I want you to do is continue the same sequence. So knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, and after the last purl 1 is in, you should have 3 stitches left, and I will see you there just to make sure that you're finishing off properly. And this is row number 1. So I'm getting close to the end. So I've just knit 3, I'm going to purl 1, and that leaves the final 3 that are here. And so move the yarn back and knit the final 3. And you're going to notice that the yarn that you just did on the needle that is right here that I'm wiggling is a lot more relaxed because your first row is complete. So once you have that done, this needle is empty, just kind of push it out. You can see it more. And I want you to do something to this before you move on so that you'll never lose track on what side that you're on. With a crochet hook or a tapestry needle, you'll need a tapestry needle to finish. Just loop it in half like so and put it through the tapestry needle, just like that. And what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go into some stitches on this side. So I'm just going to grab just one. Okay, and I'm going to pull that through. Okay, and stop when you see the exposed loop, and just pull this completely off and just put the 2 strands through that loop. And so whenever you see this, you're going to see this is the right side of the work. So if it's missing, that's the wrong side of the work. And you'll notice that was indicated on the pattern as well, a right side and wrong side, because whenever you're on the right side, you always start a certain way, and whenever you're on the wrong, it's different. So let's turn our needles now around, and we're going to begin then row number 2. So just switch hands and let's begin. Let's begin row number 2. I'm going to show you a technique which is called slip 1 knitwise, and we're going to do that now for the remaining of this project. And when you're new to knitting, the edges always look like sin. So if ever sin had a look, it's the way that knitting can look on the edge. And so what we want to do is that we want to slip stitch the first one. So when we go in just like we're about to stitch, but we don't want to, and we're just going to slip it off. And that was the slip 1 knitwise. The yarn should already be on the back of the project. Okay, so in behind. So now the next one out, because it's row number 2, is that you're going to purl. So you want to move the yarn in front first, and you were going to go down through the throat with this in front and wrap and flick it backward. So just kind of moving stuff up. So the next 3 in a row will always be knit. So we're just gonna make sure that the yarn is on the back. So it was on the front, go through the back first, and then just knit the next 3. So we only change the position of that if we're switching those stitches. So we knit the first one, so 1, knit the next one, and knit the next one. So after the 3 are done, what do you think we're gonna do? That's right, we're gonna purl. So we move the yarn in front, go down through the throat, wrap the front needle, and flick backward. And then what's the next 3? Yes, it's a knit stitch. So you're gonna move the yarn behind first, and then you knit the next 3. And that's gonna be your repeat throughout the whole thing until you get to the very end of row number 2. Okay, so doing that same repeat is going to leave you 1 loop left onto your knitting needle. So those 3 are done, so you purl, and then knit the next 3. Okay, so what I want to do is continue that around. So knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, and if your sequence is right, you should just have 1 stitch that will be left on the loop on this side. Let's see you at the end of that, and put me on pause now. So I'm on the second last stitch before I hit the edge. This is a purl 1, and as I promised, it will leave 1 stitch that's left at the end. You need to knit the last stitch. So move the yarn behind and knit your last stitch. And this was row number 2. Okay, and so you can see now it's looking pretty lovely. You really can't see much of it happening yet, but it will in time. And let's flip this around and start row number 3. And row number 3 and 4 is the repeat for the remaining of the pattern. So row number 3 is almost identical to row number 1. The difference is that I want you to slip purlwise. So slip knit purlwise. So going on in, instead of knitting it, just slide it on off. And then you're going to knit the next 2 in a row. So the yarn is already in the back, so you can just leave it there and just knit the next 2 in a row. And now the next one is a purl. So we're just gonna bring the yarn forward and purl the next one. And now the sequence starts all over again. So we're going to knit the next 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then you're going to purl 1. So what we want to do is we want to go all the way to the other side. And after your purl 1 that you'll have 3 loops that are left over onto this knitting needle here, and we're just going to knit the final 3. And I'll see you there in a few moments. So just put me on pause now. So make sure you move that yarn back before you start the knit. I'm coming up to the end. I'm just purling, and I have 3 stitches left over on this knitting needle, and you're going to knit the final 3. So whenever you're in the end of a row number 3, that's how it's going to end every time. Okay, and now let's switch hands and turn. You can really see it coming out now, and we're going to begin number 4. Row number 4 is identical to row number 2. So you're going to knit, let's begin row number 4. It's identical to number 2. So you're going to slip the first one knitwise, so going on in, slip it off, and then you were going to purl the next one. So the yarn was already in the back, so move it to the front between the needles and purl the next one. So just remember, there's always 3 knit stitches in a row. So let's move the yarn back, and you're going to knit the next 3. And you're going to start seeing the pattern developing before your eyes. So we're knitting 3 in a row. And then you're moving the yarn in front. And you're going to purl. Okay, move the yarn behind, and you're going to knit the next 3. So you're just keeping that same sequence. Okay, and then purl. So in this case, the yarn is changing color on its own. The Caron Tea Cakes do the same thing. So then I want you to knit 3, purl 1, knit 3, purl 1, and when you get to the end, there will be 1 loop left over after the purl, and then you're just going to knit that, and I'll see you there in a few moments. So I'm finishing the second last one. So that was a purl, we move it, and we knit the last one. So what you need to do, there's time markers in the, it's called video chapters, in the video description, and also pinned comments. And you're just going to go back to row number 3. And if you stretch this out now, you can really see how the stitch work is going to happen. So these here is going to create the ridges and the bumps, because the ridge is here, but if you turn it over, the ridge is right here. It's in between. So this is where the other ridge is. So when it starts to work out, you're going to see it's going to compress on your knitting needles. It's going to compress on its own, but on the knitting needles, it looks more stretched. So I want you to repeat rows number 3 and 4. I'll put in the video description, there's a link for the free pattern. I'll put instructions in a video format there on how to change the yarn. I'd recommend that if you are switching balls, then you switch on the very edge of a row. It's just a lot easier, and so you want to keep an eye on your balls to make sure that you get enough to you can get all the way across and only change on the ends, but that's up to you on what you would like to do. So please continue rows number 3 and 4. So let's do the cast off. We're going to want to cast off in the way that the stitches are lined up. So if you cast off and just do a knit stitch cast off, it's going to make the edge look like sin. That's my word of the day. So you want to make sure that you've ended with doing a row number 4, and now you're, as if you're about to start row number 3, this is when you'll do the cast off. So what we need to do is that we're going to do row number 3, but this time we're going to cast off as we go. So let's get our knitting needle into our hands. And so I want you to slip knitwise the first one, okay? And with the yarn in behind, we want to knit the next 2, but we're going to cast off. So we're going to start by going in, and we knit, and we pull off. And now carefully, with this knitting needle that is moving, you want to just grab the first one and pull it up over top of the other one that's already on the knitting needle. If you keep the slack tight on this side, it prevents this other loop that I'm trying to keep on from sliding off. So that was knit that one. We're going to knit the next one. And then we take the first one and we slide off. This is called the bind off. Okay, so now the instructions would tell us that the next one is a purl, so move the yarn in front first and purl it. And slide off. And now we're going to move the yarn back because it will be out of your way, because the next 3 are knit anyway, and we're going to take that one and slide it up over top. Take your time with this, it can be a real pain. Just like that. So the next 3 are knit, so you're just going to go in and knit. And always taking that one over the top. So we knit the next one. There's 3 knit in a row. And then what's the next one? That's right, it's a purl. So move the yarn in front first. You're going to purl it. Slide up. Move the yarn in behind before you bring it up over top. Okay, so then you'll knit the next 3 in a row and then purl, and keep on doing that all the way to the very end. And at the very end, the last one is just going to be 3 stitches left, and so the last are just 3 knit stitches that you'll be doing the same thing, and that's where I'll meet you back here in a moment. So we're just close to the very end. So biggest mistake I made when I learned to knit, that I thought the cast off is always the same, and it really depends on the stitches that you're doing to make the edging look the same as the way you started. So in this case, because out of the first row we started with the fancy stitch work, we need to end with the cast off in the same way. So we come right to the very end, and before you get too excited, we want to just pull up a loop on this, and you're going to trim your yarn and just push that yarn through that loop to lock it. If you don't, this whole thing will unravel like in 2 seconds. Now you're just going to take your strand that you had with the tapestry needle, and you'll do this with all the strands that you'll have, whether it's the beginning or the end. If you had to change your balls, which you probably had to, is that you're just going to weave it into the stitch work 3 times. And so you can see that this thing has flexibility, so when you pull it through, you want to make sure that it's going to keep its flexibility so it's not too tight. So if you pull too tight, it will never be able to stretch back out. So just kind of give it a pull and then just weave it in 3 times. In this case, because of the size of the yarn, go between the plies, not just between the strands, and that'll really get it stuck. And this is a double-sided pattern as well, so it can be seen on both sides. So you just want to be really nice about it, and that would be how you would do something like that. And so you'll do that with the beginning strands, and this is exactly what you'll have. This is your Hot Frosty knit scarf stitch called the seated knit stitch.